Today's episode is brought to you by our Patreon family. Join our growing community for early access to every episode, exclusive video versions of the podcast, behind-the-scenes footage, full-length product demos, and more. We appreciate you. Welcome back to Martins and More. My name's Maury Rutch. Spoon Phillips is on assignment. Of course, by on assignment, I mean on vacation. Spoon's at the beach, and before I get upset about that, I was at the beach last week, so I have no room to talk. However, we don't have a regular podcast episode ready for you, so I went and found one. John Hall, our very good friend at Blues Creek Guitars, was nice enough to let me visit his shop today. So instead of having a Martins and More with Spoon and Maury talking back and forth, we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at John Hall at Blues Creek Guitars in Hegins, Pennsylvania. The only caveat, I'm not entirely sure how much of this episode is going to translate well to audio only. So please, wherever you're hearing this message, consider finding this on our YouTube channel and watch the video version this week of Martins and More and a behind-the-scenes look at Blues Creek Guitars in Hegins, Pennsylvania.
Hi. Maury's behind the camera. He's hiding. Do I have good hair today or is it bent? This is bloodwood, which is a really not a bad tone wood. You can see it's got a striking color. And I'm going to be bending this into a Martin 000 OM shape. Now, I use Windex with ammonia D because ammonia is a natural cell softener to allow the cells to collapse for the bending process. You'll also notice I have marks. I got two white marks. That way I don't build two left sides or two right sides. Trust me, I've done that already. You can rebend them, but after about the third or fourth time, they don't really like it. And I can assure you alcohol was involved that day. So you can see I made the paper wet, made the wood damp, another piece of wood paper on top. And I usually bend two sides at a time, but since Maury's here, we'll just do one because it's the same process. Slat, wet paper, wood, wet paper, slat, heating blanket on top. This heating blanket can get over 450 degrees, so I do have a controller and I can actually control the heat. So now we go into the bending machine. Here's a little story pole, so I can go from the waist out to the neck joint right there. So I don't have to sit here and measure everything. And for those of you that never saw bending before, these are called the hold downs. And this is just a piece of aluminum that weighs about 3 pounds. I click it on there, and there is a method to my madness. That's going to tell me when the wood is actually ready to bend. That's a thermometer. I turn that on. That's underneath the heating blanket, but on top of the slat, because I'm heating the slat to heat the wood. So now this is all going to heat the wood, another weight. Now this is my controller. It is set to full, and I have a 15-minute timer. So as this starts to heat up, you're actually going to see the weights pull down on the wood, and that's going to let me know that the wood is actually ready to bend. The whole process will take 4 minutes. We have 30 seconds into it right now. I'm just going to give that a little crank, and you can actually feel that this is heating up. The thermometer is telling me we're at 150 degrees. I generally find the wood will bend at about 220 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, so that means you could have bent this in the Muhlenberg room at the NASFest.
Oh, God. We would have set it on fire. And then we have the side sets is 75 thousandths thick. And as you can see, this is a Martin OM shape, also a quad 000. Now the heat's starting to come up here, and I can feel that the heat is starting to come through here. We are now coming into almost 2 minutes. I'm now at 210 degrees. And you can feel that the wood is starting to relax, and you can feel the heat coming in underneath here. So the reason I use a Windex with ammonia D ammonia is a natural cell softener.
Oh.
So it makes the bend more efficient because you need the cell to collapse. Wood is a thermoplastic material. In plain words, when it gets hot, it will move. So here we go. If you hear a crack, you'll hear me cuss. Now, I'm doing the lower bout first.
Why is
The
that?
reason that I do the lower bout first is we're going in diameter of the curves. Now, a lot of people think you do the waist first, and the problem with doing the waist first is that you don't get a pressing, and you end up with a lot of air gaps.
Huh.
So this is starting to work out pretty good. I'll give that a little bit more of a crank. I always check underneath here because I want to make sure things are still damp. And you can see it is. Alrighty.
Is there a chance you could dry that quickly? Not
Well,
be damp
yeah,
anymore?
because you're boiling it. Water cooks off at 212. Wood will catch fire. Remember the book 454. That's the flash point of wood. So right now I'm at 250 degrees. And Maury will take a picture when I start pulling the waist down, because you can see there's gaps here. Now as I start pulling the waist down on here, you're going to see this pull itself right to the pattern. And boom, boom.
Huh.
That's it. Now I'm going to let the heat rise to about 300, 320. Then I got a variable setting and I have it dialed in where I can hold it around 250, 275, and that will set the bend. And that's how you bend wood.
Wow.
So that's part of the day job here at Blues Creek Guitars, because I also do resawing. I just made a pile of braces. If there's anybody out there that likes to turn pens, give me a call. I got a lot of scrap wood you'd like.
Huh.
And now, boom, there we go. And I can set that to variable, hit it for 15 minutes, and I'll just let it cook away. So that's the bending process.
So that's autopilot now, right?
That's on autopilot. That's done.
Awesome.
And that took me 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's the first 1,000 are the hard ones. But this is that's how we do it.
Excellent.
This bending machine is over 20 years old.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's an old one.
Wow.
That's my new design, that where I can bend anything from a soprano ukulele to a 12-fret dread.
Huh.
I'm changing the design of the bend patterns from the tubes to a 3-rib structure. So I got the CNC machine that keeps me going.
Is this one of these things where every couple of years you feel a better way to do it so you can actually expand it?
Well, it's the learning process. You don't know what you don't know till you know it. So the more you learn what not to do.
When they say don't reinvent the wheel, are we really reinventing the wheel here?
We aren't really reinventing the wheel. The original design called for aluminum slats, which I've been using stainless steel for 20 years.
Okay.
And what happens, I found that this middle rib, some woods, especially flat sawn, will want to cup. This helps to avoid the cupping issue.
Huh.
So it's things that you've learned through the years, how to do things just a little bit better. It's like a scale. You can play the pentatonic in the first position, or you can learn to do it up and down the neck. So this is just, let's say, an improvement of the original idea.
And you made a comment about flat sawn. Can you quickly educate our viewers?
Yes.
Flat sawn versus quarter sawn?
I can actually show you. All right. Okay. You can see how this is flat sawn. And if you look at the grain, you see the structure of the grain going vertical. So that's what quarter sawn will look like. That's what flat sawn will look like. And this piece, I'll turn this into bindings. So I'm not going to lose any material here. This will just become a guitar binding. So I try not to throw away. I respect the tree, so I want to use every piece of the tree that I possibly can. At Blues Creek Guitars, we don't charge for dust, so any dust you find, you're welcome to take home. I really got into the Gibson guitars lately. For finger picking guitars, they're just outstanding pieces of work. and they're braced like matchsticks. Roy Bookbinder. If anybody knows Roy Bookbinder, I've never met him personally. I think we emailed once or twice, but a friend of mine does know him. He was a big blues finger picker.
Sure.
And he loves these L2s and the L00s. And over here, my friend documented some of his guitars, so I have all of the bracing specs for pre-1930 Gibson L00 and L2.
Ooh.
And to give you some idea, this is a set of braces for a Gibson L2. A Martin set of braces is about, again, is half as big as that. So these things are just itty bitty, teeny tiny.
Huh.
And the last one I built, the body weighed 2 pounds, 2.6 ounces.
Oh, you're kidding.
I've eaten bigger steaks. Yeah, that thing was just amazing.
Wow.
So, you know, I do a lot of Martin stuff. You know that. I'm a big Martin guy, but I'm also into the pre-war vintage guitars.
Huh.
That's just something that I got into these by accident 2-3 years ago, and I just fell in love with them. So, you know, they can't all be Martin D28s.
No.
And
this podcast is called Martins and More, so we're going to test that today.
And that's the back. That's going to be the back set for the L00 that is in the mold.
Is that Sapele?
This is Bloodwood.
Oh, Bloodwood.
That's the Bloodwood. And then I just glued these up this morning. I'm going to be doing a 000. I haven't made up my mind if I'm doing a 000 or an OM, but that's going to be a Bloodwood set. Oh. And that goes with the sides that I just bent.
Huh.
So I just glued this together. And these are the tops for the L00, and this is for the 000 OM. So the L2 and the L00s were Sunburst guitars. And I actually had a 1932 in the shop that I could really, really look close at. And I discovered it was a 3-piece top. So you can see this was the first piece, and then they went in and out. And that's how Gibson was efficient in using their material, because everything was hidden under the Sunburst. So this one here is going to be, it's also going to be a 12 fret, but that is totally the way Gibson did it. This is another one that they've done, and this is actually going to be a 14 fret for an L00. And they had a weird rosette. You can see they have white, black, white, and we mask this off when we do our Sunburst so that colors show up better.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
So you were saying the Sunburst on a Gibson wasn't always just hiding an imperfection in the grain, it was actually hiding a 3-piece top.
Oh yeah. Wow. Martin had some 3- and 4-piece tops. I'll show you one upstairs. When I'm done down here doing this kind of stuff and manufacturing, because we do our molds and all of that stuff gets worked up here, my kid takes a lot of it home. Come on up, I'll show you the repair stuff. Because I actually have a D1220, I think it's a D1220 up there, that has a 4-piece top.
4-piece?
Yeah. This is our packing and shipping department. My wife does the packing and the shipping, and she does all of the filing. I do all of the piling. So she has a filing system, I have a piling system.
Does she like being on camera?
No.
Oh.
No, at that point she pretends she's Amish. Here. Go.
Next time, Brenda.
And you can actually see right here, there's 2 little wings that they put in.
Oh, sure. So
that's a 4-piece top.
So 4-piece doesn't mean 4 equal-sized pieces.
Nope.
It just means they stretched it.
No, Martin had done that back in the days with some other guitars. When they were running out of red spruce, they used 4-piece red spruce tops. Then they went into Sitka.
When you first said that, I had pictured equal-sized sections of 1, 2, 3, and 4, but that's not it at all.
Nope. No.
Huh.
So here's something that might be interesting to a lot of people. This is the 1959 neck. I just got done redoing the fretboard because it needed to get fretted. It gets getting a neck reset. But these guys get compression fretted. So I'm using frets that have a different width of the tang to help push the neck back.
And can you explain the compression fretting technique?
Yes. Basically, you have a slot that will fit right into here for normal frets. And if you look really, really close, I'll lay this on the black. You might be able to see it better. There. Can you see the barbs on there?
I hope the camera can, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, what we do for compression fretting, if it's a bar fret, they're 45 to 55 thousandths, and we peen them around and do what we got to do because the slots are thicker. In fact, I think I have a bar fret neck over here, our fretboard. Prior to 1934, Martin used what they called bar frets. This is a bar fret. Okay? So you can see the difference between a T fret and a bar fret.
Oh, sure.
Okay? Now, the fretboards were different, so you can see the difference in the slot. Bar frets were generally cut at about 45 thousandths wide. These T-bars are usually cut at 23 thousandths wide. But when you put a bar fret in here, you can see this one happens to fit in there. But then you add thicker barbs or thicker bars, and it will spring the fretboard like this, and that's how you control your neck relief. It's not like going to a truss rod and giving it a yank. Here is a T-bar, and since you can't buy these from Martin, I get these made, and then these will fit in here, and that stiffens the neck to control how the neck flexes under string load. And when I actually do this, I put the weights on the guitar so I can spring the neck. And I have a video out there on YouTube on compression fretting and how you make your adjustments to control your neck, neck relief.
We'll have to link to that.
Yep. YouTube, Blues Creek Guitar Compression Fretting. So that will explain that process. So those of you that have older guitars, that will probably help explain how that works for them.
So is it fair to say with modern instruments you don't need compression frets?
No, you don't. Well, put it this way, as long as they have adjustable truss rods, you don't. Now, some of the modern ones, the golden era, some of the custom shop, yeah, they get compression fretted because they're building them like the old stuff.
That's fair.
And then there's an old Kalamazoo arch top. That has to get compression fretted because there's no adjustable truss rod in that. And that neck is bowed like looks like Robin Hood used that in with Guinevere. But, you know, that one's going to get fixed up. Like I said, this is an interesting project I'm doing. 1942, 017. This is going to be a restoration. You can see we got the fingernail dents. And I don't know what anybody was thinking, but they added a couple of sound holes in there. So I'll have to redo that. And I'll get that one back in. What's in here? This is just a bunch of parts for this guitar. That's this one. And here is a old one-way truss rod. When I fret the fingerboard extension, I generally glue the ends of the frets down and I put a little block on there. So that way, overnight, the glue holds the frets and keeps the fret ends from getting loose down in time. So that one's ready, and that's going to be getting reset on a guitar that's here somewhere. I think it's over here. This one here would be his. Yep. So this guitar is actually going to get a neck reset, and it goes in here, as you can see. And I'm going to change the neck angle so that the string height is where it belongs. We've done a couple of neck set videos, so I really don't need to show that. But
interesting.
So that's a neck set. A lot of binding issues that I've been repairing. That one getting a bridge, but these two are ready to get picked up. Those are pretty interesting. What is this guitar? Is this? Yeah, this is a nice. This one I just redid for a guy down in Baltimore. fact, he's coming to pick it up this week. You can tell that was played and loved.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Since I haven't tuned that for 2 weeks, it doesn't sound too bad. But this was a neck reset. Binding it was coming off. I had to make a new bridge. If you take a look, this is a 1972, I think. And this was during the time when Martin had some saddles out of position. And if you look close, you can see where I had to move the saddle back in order to get the intonation correct on the guitar.
Not the bridge, but just the saddle?
Yeah. So I could move the bridge back, or the saddle back. You can see how close the strings are now to the bridge pins, but that won't hurt anything. And people have all of these nice old guitars that they like. They have their, what do you want to say, their sentimental attachments to. Here we go.
Is that the original 1970s Snark tuner?
No, that was an antique. This is pre-war. That was back when they used kerosene.
Pre-World War III?
I like the Snark tuners. They're pretty reliable. Kind of muddy one, but you can see this here also has non-adjustable truss rod. So to adjust the neck relief, this got fretted, and you can see right here how close I am to the strings. So that makes a nice, makes it playable. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of vintage repairs, so I got to use hot high glue. So I mixed up my hot high glue and I cooked it yesterday. I let it sit overnight, and then I'll use it today. I don't like to use the hot high glue the same day I cook it. I just like to work it and use it the next day. It has a short shelf life, probably a week to 10 days if you don't refrigerate it.
Oh.
So I generally just mix up what I think I'm going to need and use it up, and then that's it.
Like milk?
Yeah. Yeah, without a refrigerator. Oh, and here's going to be... yeah. I'm getting another guitar. My friend Mr. Henderson's building me another guitar.
Wow. Wow.
Is that going to be pretty? So, be sending that down to him.
Jeez.
And you can see we have all kinds of gadgets and gadgets and templates and molds and whatever the building community needs we have, or try to.
And that's bluescreekguitars.com?
Yep. The first YouTube went up in 2009. Glenn LaSalle came to the East Asia Association of Stringed Instrument Artisans. And I was giving a talk on bending wood. And he said, can I take a video? I said, sure, why not? How much is it going to cost me? Oh, no, it won't cost you anything. He said, I live in New Jersey. I said, well, how about would you come to my shop? He said, yeah. I said, what would you charge me for that? He said, if I get to keep the videos, nothing. So the very first video is me at Asia bending wood, and I actually invited somebody from the class to do the bending.
Ah.
That was the first video, and then we realized the power of YouTube, because Brenda can tell you, I'd be on the phone for 45 minutes to an hour every night talking to somebody. So we started doing the kit building videos, how-to videos, and that freed them up, because now somebody says, how do I do a neck reset? Good. Go to YouTube, type in Maury's neck reset video, my reset video. You'll see the whole process, and call me if you have a question. So now instead of 45 minutes, it's 5.
Yeah.
I get to talk to the customer yet, and YouTube really gives that one-on-one experience, even though it's online. Because, I mean, I watch your videos. We've done a couple of little other videos that we've chatted about guitars and stuff, and I think it's a way that we can get the information out to people, because unfortunately there's a lot of information out there, not all of it very good. So we want to give you accurate information so you can make a proper decision. Do I want to repair it? Do I want to sell it? You know.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, because when people bring me old guitars, I'll tell them, here's what your guitar's worth. Here's what we got to do to fix it. Now your guitar will be worth this. So you can make a financial decision. Yes, I want to do it, or no, I'll sell it and move on. So, but most of the stuff I work on is sentimental. That was my dad's guitar, and I'd really like to get it playing again, and you know, so that's kind of cool. So
excellent. Thank you, Brenda.
I'll take you over to the studio.
All right, folks, part 2 of visiting John Hall at Blues Creek Guitars. We did not make a trip to Martin. We are still in John Hall's, well, this is your basement, right?
Yeah, that's Warehouse 1. That's my collection of guitars through the years.
Wow.
My latest build guitar, nothing too ostentatious.
Oh, boy. Oh, my God. We need details. What are you holding?
Okay, this is a it's a new guitar. It's a D-45 Deluxe. And what makes this deluxe is, if you look at the fretboard, there's pearl coming down the edge of the fretboard.
Pearl on pearl.
And the headstock is inlaid. Wow. And zero cote.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll need to get a couple of still pictures of that.
And there's a couple of beer spills on it, but they're supposed to be on there.
John.
My guitars are played. They aren't, you know. Yeah. So that's what I do for a living and what I do for fun. If I don't get a guitar in 3 months, I start getting the shakes.
If you don't get one, you start building one.
Yeah. But this is what I do for a living. And I get to play with it. In fact, tonight's jam night. My harps, I'll play a lot of harp tonight probably.
Do you guys ever post any songs on social media when you guys jam?
We really haven't. I guess we ought to. We really should, because we do a couple of songs pretty well. Boz, there's your, up there. I have all of your paintings that you ever donated to the unofficial Martin Guitar Forum. You donated 3 of them, and I own them all.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I think Jack Rickenbacker was going against me for that last one.
I bet.
And nope, I'm taking it.
Those of you guys watching this on the YouTube version, if you're not familiar with the UMGF, the Unofficial Martin Guitar Forum, head over to umgf.org. That is the unofficial Martin Acoustic Guitar Forum that was silly enough to allow John and myself to become members way back in 2002.
Yeah.
And
we're original members.
What's that saying about you'd never join a club that would have you as a member?
Yeah, that's... oh, there's one thing you got to see. I have a dear customer, Len Skinnard. And he has a friend that does, the guy can play. In fact, I posted him up on Facebook about a month ago, playing left like Elizabeth Cotton style.
Oh.
But he's also an artist. If you go down that wall and take a look at the caricature that he painted of me, my one dear friend got a mini-me made, so that's me on top of the speaker.
I've never seen that.
And he did a beautiful job. Mike Wendt made me that one. He has better hair than I do.
That's funny.
It is funny. And he did a beautiful job of the painting. I think I'm going to put him on a shirt.
Oh, I like that.
Ain't that cool?
That's very cool.
He gave me good hair that day, too. I love that. I mean, we're in a business where most of our customers become friends.
You can say that again.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
John, I can't thank you enough. This is one of those weeks where we needed some more footage, and I thought, who am I going to call? Spoon's on vacation. I just came back from vacation. Where could I go to get some quality content for Martins and More podcast? I got to say a sincere thank you. This is such a fun day. I hope our viewers and our listeners enjoyed a peek behind the scenes.
And we can't forget fretboard oil. Always make sure you got plenty of fretboard oil.
Is that Yingling brand fretboard oil?
Yeah, my friend Marley brought this over, my bass player.
Oh, jeez.
And I got to admit, plug for Yingling, I like that Pilsner. I mean, I'm a big fan of their lager. I like the good beer. I don't drink a lot of beer, but what beer I do drink, I enjoy. You know, I'm not one of them to go out and get a headache. But that's what I like to do. So this is what I do to enjoy myself. Got wonderful friends. My friend Mr. Henderson, that's him presenting me with my first Henderson guitar, a D-45. And I hate to say how many more I have, but I want to thank Wayne. He's such a beautiful human being.
Oh, I'm sure. There's a living legend.
Yes. You can see the nice collection of amps.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, the Super Reverb amp. That thing weighs a ton.
Is that a 410?
Yeah. And there's a B15N Ampeg Portaflex.
Jeez.
And they all work. PV tube amp.
A Marshall cab. Wow.
I love that custom. High forehead. You notice that? That's one of the rare ones.
Huh.
And my dear friend Mike Dickinson got me the. We had a bidding war going on that clock, and I had bid it up to I think $75, and I was pretty sure I won it, and I had to go pee that bad. I ran to pee. I came back, and I didn't win. And that night, Mike brought me that as a gift at the hotel. So it's here, and you see the drum, how it's hanging on the wall. Isn't that artistic?
That is cool.
Do you know what it's there for?
No.
How do you hide?
Oh, my God. Oh, man. That is the most creative use of that I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, it works. It does work.
Mike, you're a good guy no matter what all the other people say about you.
We love you. Yep.
We do.
Every inch. I've met so many wonderful people. James Messina from Boston.
Oh.
He signed that. And there is my friend John Lewis and I, we have a mantra. Not many people can say they're friends from diapers to dirt. And that's our mantra. That we'll be friends from diapers to dirt. John and I, he drove us at the wedding. He had a band called Nickel Plate Road, which at that time was a big to-do band in the area.
Is that near Copperhead Road?
Yeah, right up the street. And his band played at our wedding reception. Our bass player's wife is an artist, so she painted the picture there of our jam group. And that's old General. He's passed away since. We call ourselves Putty Tat Studios here. So that's... that
was a cool cat.
It was. And I mean, I've met so many wonderful people in this crazy business. And Maury and I...
And me.
Yeah, you're more like a brother than you are a... Yeah, we go back a good bit. And
I feel the same way.
Yes. We were just talking and how people help you along the way when you first start. There's a man right here. His name is David Nichols. He's the guy who taught me how to inlay pearl on the 45. If you come over here, here's a nice picture. Now, my first commission build was way back like 2002, maybe 2001. That's David Nichols. He was a big man in the pearl inlay business. So, long story short, I needed to get some pearl work cut. So I call him up. Mr. Nichols, I need some pearl work done. And before I could say anything, he said, look, I'm too busy. He said, what's your name? Took my name. What's your address? Boom. He gave me a real quick, let's just say a very minimalized, here's how you cut pearl and put it in. All right. Well, 3 or 4 days later, I got some pearl and a jeweler saw. He sent me that for free.
Really?
So I sat down and I went to my printer, made a pattern of letters because I had to print Lee Horner and he wanted it inlaid in the style of the C.F. Martin headstock, and it actually came out pretty well. Well, about 2.5 years goes by, and he calls me up, and he said, "You're the jig guy." I said, "Yes, I am." And if I would have been thinking quicker, I'm too busy. Here's what you got to do. But what he needed was an inlay tool, and you have pictures of me doing inlay. That was a tool that I designed that he was using up until his retirement.
Wow.
And I know the inlay guys at Martin were using it.
Wow.
Henderson, I mean, I sell a lot of them. And they just work. But he's the guy who actually taught me how to purl, inlay. In fact, you know Pearlzilla.
Sure.
I built that at his shop.
Oh.
So when I went up to his shop to really learn purl, he gave me a pattern and I had to cut it out. He had to go to the dentist, I think. Until he got back, I had my pattern cut out and I handed it to him. And he said, "Oh, damn it." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "I wanted to make out of you, but we can use this." So, you know, I learned how to cut purl, and he was a big instrument on me learning how to cut purl. And I appreciate that.